had a wonderful month of reading that ended in tragedy. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads. Today, guys, it is the monthly reading wrap-up for September, and I thought I had a video planned for today, and turns out I didn't. So I am recording while on bereavement, due to the passing of my half-sister, who died rather suddenly from colon cancer. So please take care of your health. Hug your loved ones, and cherish those who are close to you. But I wanted to get this video out to you guys while I have time, and just wanted to stay busy. So without any further ado, I read 13 books this last month, which surprised me when I started counting, because I didn't think, I knew I had read a lot, but I didn't know I had read this much. And I'm going to address the elephant in the room first, which is The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. This is the Patron Book Club book pick that everybody really enjoyed, and so did I, except for the fact that things just got a bit too heavy for me this month, and this book is really, you have to pay attention to it. It requires your attention. And I've actually ordered in more David Mitchell, despite the fact that I didn't finish The Bone Clocks. But what I did read, I would give a solid 4.5. I probably read, I would say about 140 pages of The Bone Clocks. The first part, which follows Holly, was really, really good. Got really weird. But this is the first Patron Book Club pick that I don't believe I finished. But I do intend to come back and read this at a later date, because I did enjoy what I read. So, I don't have a whole lot to say here. This book is relatively weird, which I understand is on brand for David Mitchell. There's stuff that is just dropped in, and then you gotta kind of figure it out as you're reading it, and as the story progresses. Like, you're not going to understand what's happening in the moment. It's just a bit too off-kilter. So, that's The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. I don't know enough about it to really give you my deep thoughts, other than I can say I liked I liked the writing, and it got relatively weird at certain points. So there's that. Now, I did end up making some changes to the TBR takeover that Joanna did. I did not end up doing I think it was like Come With Me or something. No, it's not Come With Me. Something The Day. That just didn't end up speaking to me. I did DNF Flowers for Algernon, but what I did do is one of the books that Joanna had picked for me to read was Lois McMaster Bujold's, sorry, I'll get there, I promise, guys, Penrik's Demon. I didn't only just read Penrik's Demon, I also read Penrik and the Shaman and Penrik's Fox. So I did this entire omnibus. I know it's silly to hold up this relatively thin book and be like, I read the whole omnibus, but this is 3 novellas, so cut me some slack. Each one is about 90 pages, and overall, I just really enjoy the World of the Five Gods so far, especially the Penrik novellas. They're easy to read, they're digestible, they're pretty straightforward, they tend to be investigations or mysteries, and they're just kind of fun. They're not humorous, per se, but they are fun reads. If you're looking for, really light fantasy that is only about 90 pages per entry, I would suggest checking out Lois McMaster Bujold's World of the Five Gods, especially the Penrik novellas, because of the 3 that I've read so far, I've really, really enjoyed them. I need to check out Curse of Chalion and Paladin of Souls, and I think that other one is called Hallowed Hunt. And then I've also got just more novellas to check out. But I did read all 3 of these novellas, and high recommend. Essentially, we've got a young boy who basically is on his way to get married, to try and bring some sort of financial aid to his struggling noble house. And he stumbles across a fallen woman in the road. He offers to help her, only to find out that she is possessed by a demon that is in service to her church, or to the church. And basically the demon jumps to him, and now he becomes a part of the church, and his life completely shifts. And so far, within this, we've spanned about 5 years of Penrik's life. So, I think by the end of this book, he's 24. Or this omnibus, I should say. He's 24. So, really good stuff here. Really enjoy this. I would give this probably, a B+ to an A- rating. Really enjoyable. Really solid writing from Bujold. And I'm going to say Bujold because I keep messing up the first name. I then also did Berserk number 9. This is the deluxe edition, which comprises the single editions 24 to 27. And this, like, I also had in volume 10 of the deluxe edition that I wanted to try out. And volume 9 ends so perfectly that I just kind of want to sit with it. And I couldn't really move into 10 because of where we end in 9. Guts is in a better place than I've ever seen Guts be in. And, yeah, it was really nice. Still really brutal, but, like, we've got, like, a new kind of motley crew, found family for Guts. There's some hope. Things are looking up, despite the fact that they're still very much looking down. Contradictions. Anyway, really good entry there, and I really, really enjoyed it. And then I read 2 LitRPGs. The first being Heretical Fishing by Haylock Jobson. This was a patron submission. Essentially every other month, my patrons get to submit a book to a wheel. I spin that wheel, and then I read it. And Heretical Fishing won. And the first half of this, I was just like, it's like a 3.5. It reminded me too much of like the broad strokes of Beware of Chicken. And then as the book kept going, I just kept falling more in love with Fisher and Maria and all of the characters in here, like Corporal Claus, Sergeant Snips. Just, there's a bunch of really great characters, animal companions. It's laid back. The main character literally only cares about fishing. He has died in our world and woken up in a new world where the gods have left. And basically, the mechanisms that they left behind for LitRPG cultivators and stuff are running low on power, and they're kind of dormant, but he met the requirements just enough for that last gasp of power to bring him to this world. So this world hasn't had cultivators in, I think, millennia at this point. Centuries, if not millennia. And so he's the first one, and he doesn't want power. He just wants to fish. And through his nonchalance, he's slowly powering the system back up. It's fantastic. I really enjoyed this. And I can't wait to read Heretical Fishing 2, because I think we're all the way up to Heretical Fishing 4 that is currently out, and the audiobook on this was fantastic. So yes, I did do Heretical Fishing, and I do give it a high recommend. I would give this one probably an A-, solid A-. Very good, very good. But the beginning is a little bit slow, and if you have read Beware of Chicken, it will feel kind of familiar, but it will change. Next up, the other LitRPG. I didn't know if I was going to get to it because, like, it was, I think, the 20th before I even started it. I had a couple of false starts where I was just like, I don't know if, like, I'm really going to want to read this month. But I did end up reading Primal Hunter 3, and thank goodness that I did, because Primal Hunter 3 was phenomenal. Like, I really liked 2, but there was that moment midway through Primal Hunter 2 where I was just like, that feels a bit forced. Here, we're fully in 2. We had that moment halfway through where I was just like, that felt a bit forced. But now, in Primal Hunter 3, we're fully into Earth and this new world. It's different. It's much bigger. Like, the system has done weird things to our planet. And humanity is trying to figure out how to survive. And really, all Jake cares about is getting stronger. And I just really enjoyed getting those aspects. He meets, like in book 2, he met this kind of bird companion / friend. He's not an animal companion. He's more of just like a bro. And for the first like third of the book, that's all Jake is doing, is he's just hanging out with this bird. And we kind of get to see how powerful Jake is. And overall, like, I'm really enjoying Primal Hunter. So I think the next time I'm going to be reading Primal Hunter is not in October, but in November. Is when I intend to do Primal Hunter 4. Fingers crossed that that happens, because it's been a series that I'm really, really enjoying. Then I also did Come With Me by Ronald Malfi. And I think I picked this up early on in the month when I was just like, I was in a little bit of a funk. And all of a sudden, like, this jumped out of the shelf at me. And I was like, you know what? A Malfi sounds good right now. I really, really enjoyed this. Aaron Decker, basically, I've talked about this in weekly reading wrap-ups and stuff like that. Essentially, his wife gets killed in a tragic shooting. And he's struggling. And then all of a sudden, he finds something that makes him question his marriage. He thinks she might have been having an affair. And he come to find out she was, in fact, keeping secrets from him. She has been tracking killings that have been dating back all the way to before they were even an item. And he goes on this quest and this mission to kind of finish what his wife started. And I just really enjoy Malfi's kind of suspense thriller mysteries. And this one's got a little bit of a supernatural twist to it as well. Question mark, because Malfi always makes you wonder, was that actually supernatural? And I think Malfi's just really, really good at that. And I really enjoyed this. I'd give this a solid B+ to an A-. It falls in that range. Where there were times where I was like, can we hurry it up? And there's other times where I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's all happening right now. Very good book. This is my second Malfi, and I'm excited to read a third one. So there's that. Then Purple and Black is a KJ Parker novella that is included in the Academic Exercises collection, I think. And I liked this one, but I didn't love it. And I understand why people who love KJ Parker do love Purple and Black. But as I stated previously, there's a level of cynicism that runs through KJ Parker's writing. And the message here is power just corrupts. And even if you have ideals, power will corrupt your ideals type of deal. And overall, I just didn't particularly end up enjoying the end of Purple and Black. I liked the back and forth. This is told through letters between two friends. And they have this back and forth, and they're funny, and they're witty, and they're making inside jokes, and they're referencing their past. And overall, like, I really enjoyed those aspects of it. But then, like, there's a twist kind of halfway through, and at that point, it's just kind of straight downhill for me. Not, like, straight downhill. Like, there were still moments where I was just like, oh, I like this, but I'm not loving the experience anymore. Because I found the first half to be incredibly witty and funny. There was a wry, dry sort of humor that I don't normally associate with KJ Parker. But, I mean, I thought he really nailed it in Purple and Black, other than the fact that the cynicism kind of just ruined it for me. So those are my upsetting thoughts on Purple and Black. But overall, I liked it. I would give it a B- to a C+. Enjoyable, but not really my thing. And then Dr. Sleep. I started this the last month, and I just kind of continued it, and then I finished Dr. Sleep. This is the sequel to The Shining, and this is one of the biggest about faces on a Stephen King book that I've ever had. Essentially, the first time I tried to read Dr. Sleep, the first 10% were dealing with Dan Torrance at his lowest. He's an adult. Things have not gone well since The Shining, and basically, like, his life has not gone to plan, or I don't want to say to plan, there wasn't really a plan, but basically he's kind of following his father's footsteps with becoming addicted to alcohol and drugs, and he's living this life on the road. And there were some moments that really bothered me in the first bit of Dr. Sleep, where I felt like King was just going for shock value, and I put it down. And then all of a sudden, I wanted to read a Stephen King, and this was just like, give me another shot. So I did. And I got past the parts that bothered me, and then this book just blossomed. It opened up. It's about healing. It's about found family. It's about reconciliation, second chances, and just overall fighting for what's important to you. It's about family. And this just really ended up becoming... I'm going to borrow a saying from my buddy Preacher, from Preacher Reads. It's a top half King for me. Easily a top half King. And I'm actually planning to do a top 10 Stephen King rating. I don't know if this is going to make it, but it's in consideration because I just enjoyed it so incredibly much. To see where Dan Torrance starts to where he becomes, meeting Abra and everything that goes in there, the expansion of The Shining. The True Knot wasn't my favorite thing ever, but man, in the end, this book like just really, really delivered. I would give this one an A- to an A. I really, really enjoyed this book. Really enjoyed it. I'm probably not going to select a book of the month because I can't process that right now. But I want to talk about Nimona. Nimona was a graphic novel that Joanna chose for me to read, and I really enjoyed Nimona. I liked the kind of story and the interactions that are going on. Again, more found family. We've got Nimona, who is this young girl who is kind of forced her way into the life of this supervillain and she wants to be his apprentice, and he's not really looking to be an apprentice. In this world, we've got sorcery, we've got technology, we've got guns and swords, and they're all kind of living simultaneously with monsters and dragons and shapeshifters and whatnot. And this villain, whose name is escaping me, I think it's like Blackmore or something. He's the villain, but at the same time, like, he lives within a code. Like, he's not just going to go around indiscriminately killing people. He just kind of wants to stick it to, like, the good guys, air quotes. And Nimona is much more aggressive, and so he's coming in, he's like, you can be my apprentice, but, like, you can't just go around doing all of these terrible things to people. And she's just like, why not? We're the bad guys. We can do whatever we want. And so, like, seeing their interaction as they kind of feed off of each other, and she kind of sharpens his edge, but, like, at the same time, he's kind of softening hers a little bit and turning into this kind of, like, father figure for Nimona. I really, really enjoyed that book. So it was very good. I came back and I finished this. The Witchwood Crown. This is The Last King of Osternard. Book number 1 by Tad Williams. This takes place 30 years after Two Green Angel Tower. And this, I want to say, is a near perfect sequel. It is overly long. There is a kind of nation of people called the Thrithings. They're kind of like a grassland sort of tribe, and they're more nomadic and insular and tribal and stuff like that. And towards the end, like, I figure out why the Thrithings are a part of the story, but it takes a lot of pages to get there. And it's kind of obvious who certain people are within the story. Names have been changed and type of deal. That type of deal where they're like kind of like in hiding, and their identities have been changed to protect who they are. And there's this mystery of like this disappeared character and his family. And I started just guessing who people were fairly quickly and fairly easily, to the point where I was like, this could have been abbreviated. And then we kind of just do some things at the end that I didn't particularly love, where we kind of get this character twist, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. Morgan is taking some time to grow on me. Morgan is the grandson of Simon and Miriamel, who were protagonists in the first series. And he's kind of like a spoiled prince, and his interactions with anybody are kind of frustrating. It was great in the first half of the book. I would have given this a 5 out of 5. Second half of the book, I would probably give this a 3.5 out of 5. And so we're going to kind of meet in the middle, give it a 4 out of 5, or just a solid B to B+. I found the end of this book kind of frustrating. And yeah, I am a little less excited to jump into book number 2. I might push it. Instead of October, I may be reading it in November. And reading it across November and December. But those are kind of my thoughts here on this. Overall, a really good book. Great sequel series. There were just some things that just kind of bugged me. So, yeah, there's my thoughts there. And then, finally, the last one that I don't physically own yet is I read City of Endless Night by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. This is book number 17 in the Pendergast series. A series I thought I was done with. Turns out I wasn't done with it. It all of a sudden just kind of came rushing back that I wanted to come back to the series. Because the last 2 books, like Crimson Shore, Obsidian Chamber, not a big fan of those. But when it finally came time, I was ready to come back to the series. And here, Pendergast is more muted. We follow a lot more other characters. Vincent d'Agosta makes an appearance, but really, this is kind of a return to the roots because we don't have Constance in this one. I do have a Why You Should Read the Pendergast series filmed because it is a series that is near and dear to me. I still need to edit it and get it published, but it will be coming probably in October. But it was good to be back with just Vincent and Pendergast, but at the same time, due to events in the previous books, Pendergast is just a bit more muted. He's not as big of a presence. And then you kind of figure out what's going on probably about 60 to 70% of the way through the book. And then the last 30 to 40% is just a showdown. And it's still really good. I am planning on jumping straight into the next one sometime this month in October. I literally, when I moved, Ostenard book 2, like, I was like, okay, I can fit a Pendergast book in because it's this amount of pages and that was this amount of pages and it'll equal out. I don't know. That's how my brain worked it. But I am excited to dive into this one. If I have to give this one a rating, I'm going to give it a solid B+. B+, but like it was just good to be back into this world. So really enjoyed that. I then came back and finished The Hunter by Kay Agard. And this one is a solid A. A to an A+. It might be my book of the month, but I don't really want to put it in book of the month contention because I only read like the last 20% because this is a carryover from last month, much like Dr. Sleep was. But this is fantastic. I loved Strider. I loved Greer. I loved Addie. These characters just sang to me. I loved this found family. I loved this journey of reconciliation, of finding purpose in life after your goal has been achieved, of just the struggles that Addie has to get home and the interaction that forms between her and Strider. It starts out very rocky, and I don't know. This book is fantastic. I heard book 2 is currently delayed a little bit, but I'm perfectly okay as long as book 2, The Debt, is correct. So I cannot wait for The Debt, and it is probably going to become one of my most anticipated releases. I think it's coming out next year. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I've talked about The Hunter a whole lot. I highly recommend this. It's really, really good. And then to just kind of cap things off, I got into Joe Hill's Lock and Key. I got about that far into it before I lost steam. I read the first 2 volumes, and I'm really, really enjoying Lock and Key. I just don't know when I'm going to kind of come back and dive in and finish it out. But yeah, I'm going to kind of reserve my Lock and Key thoughts. It is, of course, graphic novel right there. It's much more graphic than I thought it was going to be in terms of violence and stuff like that. But still really, really good. It's generational story type of deal. But overall, I think I'm going to wait until I finish it and then do a full review of all 6 volumes kind of together, just as my thoughts as a whole. But that's all I really got for today, guys. I hope you were doing well. I hope you are staying healthy. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys read. And until next time, peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I'm going to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion and my hobby. It means the world to me.